Welcome to the Tech Exits podcast. Today, we visit the Seller's Corner, where we connect with CEOs and founders who built and successfully sold their companies, picking their brains about the good, the bad, and the ugly from their experience. In this episode, we're talking with Dan Goerdt, who engaged the WFS Platinum sponsor, the Quorum Group, to sell his company, Flexagon, developer of Flex Deploy, the only comprehensive integrated DevOps platform that tames the complexities of enterprise platforms. In June of 2024, Dan sold Flexagon to Main Capital Partners. Today, we'll hear his insights on the M&A process, how he balanced running a process with running the business, as well as the importance of education and preparation in an M&A transaction. So, let's begin. Hi, Dan. Can you tell us about your company? What space were you in, and what problem did you help your customer solve?
Yeah, absolutely. Flexagon is a software automation company. We started back in 2014. We have a DevOps product called Flex Deploy. It helps customers really do a few things: deliver software faster, drive higher quality, and manage cost and risk more effectively. So, I guess said another way, we automate a lot of manual activities typically performed by IT developers and administrators, and then streamline the development and delivery process. So it ensures things like compliance and security and other more regulatory requirements.
Wonderful. So Quorum helped you with the transaction. How did you learn about Quorum, and why did you ultimately choose them?
Well, I learned about them through one of their monthly webinars. That was the initial visibility into Quorum and what they were all about. And then I participated in one of their half-day workshops. It really provided a lot more education on the M&A process and specifically Quorum's approach to helping their clients. And so with that, I liked the process. It had been proven, lots of success in terms of transactions, and I think probably more than anything, it gave me a confidence that the process worked and that it could work for us. And so our software was helping a lot of customers around the world, and we're bootstrapped. And so you think of it as about a 10-year-old startup, but doing a nice job helping customers. And so the founders, including myself, we're all technologists, okay? And we had scaled Flexagon to a certain point, but we really needed to and wanted to inject some change that would really take the benefits of what we've been able to achieve and scale the business. And so we needed help doing that. We need to figure out what options we had. And so a significant focus of that was around how we go to market, right? We had the technology, it worked. And so how do we really drive that go to market more effectively? And, as part of that, looking for a partner to help us make that happen.
Speaking of the process, were you surprised by any of the steps in it?
Well, the process was laid out. It was clear. That definition was quite helpful. So I don't know that there were many surprises. I think, the hiatus part of the process, not that it was such a big surprise, but I like the design point that allowed Flexagon to really take a step back while we're going through the process and make 100% sure that we're on track to find the right fit for a buyer. That was really important.
It sounds like the hiatus program was really helpful in finding that right fit for you and also the optimal outcome. During transaction discussions, was there anything non-negotiable for you?
Hey, let's see, the non-negotiable part, I would say it's, needing the confidence that we're going to find the right fit for Flexagon. I mean, that was a big deal at the onset. And, yes, there are all the other financial elements and the things you're trying to achieve there. But when you're really looking at the fit and how are we going to work together? What's the buyer? How do they think about how we would look post sale? So not only achieving the growth and scaling objectives, but truly being a good fit for our employees, for our customers. And that was something, the confidence in that was truly non-negotiable.
What was the most difficult part of the process?
Boy, personally, I guess I think of time. So, it's a pretty big commitment, with respect to the goals we have as a company. And, outside of M&A, just running a relatively small company takes quite a bit of time, right? A lot of hours, and the day, mapping that on top of an M&A process, I guess it can be difficult. And so, what was that impact for me personally is really cutting into maybe even a little deeper into some of the time I have for non-work related activities, family and friends. And so the good news, I guess, is that having a more streamlined process, I felt helped make it more doable. At a company level, the diligence process was pretty rigorous. It was thorough, and so keeping the M&A focus on a few of us helped make that a lot easier and truly limited the impact of the company in general. So let us get through this, wonderful M&A process and achieve some of those outcomes while we continue to run a successful business.
I want to expand on that some more. Running an M&A process isn't just a decision. It's a commitment, as you pointed out. A lot goes into the process, and on top of all that, you have to keep running the business. How did you balance running the company and getting things done for the M&A process?
Yeah, it really does go back to that thing I mentioned earlier. And so Flexagon has had 6 founding partners, okay? And so that's a lot of ways to think about that. But in the context of M&A, we took an approach that said myself and one of the other partners, the CFO, we tag teamed on this, and so we really kept the brunt of the work, focused on the 2 of us, and so that really helped the other partners continue to run the business while we you could say pull double duty, and while we also were ahead to keep the business running, we're also able to get the needed focus on executing the M&A process.
Did you ever have doubts during the process?
Maybe back to the hiatus part. We had multiple offers. The fit wasn't quite right. There are a few other things in there. So that construct of a hiatus, being able to step back, was important, but it was a bit challenging to be patient. And so, I don't know that I would call it a doubt, but we had to do that step back, and doing so, it really did. It was the right thing to do, and kept our confidence, and the fact that built into the process was a really good thing that ultimately helped us find the right buyer.
Having gone through the process yourself, what advice would you give to others thinking about going through a tech M&A?
I'd say education. Educate yourself on the process and options. When we first started looking at that, or looking at the how we're going to scale Flexagon, did some of that homework, thought about possibly running it ourselves, saw the quorum and looked at and got smarter on what they do in their approach, as I mentioned earlier. And that was a big deal. That really was an eye-opener. And so I think, Quorum did a great job with the process and has that all laid out. So, my recommendation and advice is do your diligence. Look at the options, whether that's Quorum and or others, but get educated and for me, and help me make a much better decision down the path we would go on. And in our case, linking up with Quorum to make that happen. Finally,
what's your life like now after the deal? I understand you're still running Flexagon.
Yeah, that's true. So in some regard, it's not a whole lot different, but But I'll tell you, having taken some chips off the table, right? Having some additional, what I guess you might call financial security. There's an element of that's, it is. It's very, very important, and provides a different dimension on what it's like to continue down a path, and as you mentioned, still being CEO of Flexagon, but also having worked through a process, find the right buyer in a company called Main Capital Partners. That things are really going well. We're less than 6 months post transaction. Things are moving along nicely, and it's great to know that we're on that really fantastic path to grow the company. Provide a lot of good opportunities for employees, help a lot of customers, and basically just succeed in what we're trying to achieve in terms of scaling and growing the business, helping a lot more customers around the globe.
That's exciting to hear that you guys were able to get what you were looking for after the transaction. And you sound very satisfied with life after the deal. So congrats, Dan, for that. My last question before we close out is, what is next for Dan Goerdt? What are your next goals or dreams that you want to pursue, be it business or personal?
Well, let's see. On a business side, part of how we're structured, and part of why we ultimately ended up moving along and partnering with Main Capital is, there's that growth strategy that's just super, super exciting. And so I guess, my goal is to go down that path, hit the objectives that we've set out to, and, help a lot of customers, have a lot of fun along the way, and then sell the company again. So, that, I guess, at the broadest level for business. And on a personal side, maybe it's a little bit more of the work-life balance. I get super excited about work and doing what we're doing and looking into the future. But there is a nice aspect of finding that balance, being able to spend more time, with family and friends, and enjoy, I guess, what all the wonderful things in life. And I guess down the road, a number of years for sure, but maybe there's a retirement path here. But along the way, certainly having a lot of fun getting stuff done and helping a lot of customers.
Thanks, Dan, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us today. Are you considering selling your tech company? Head over to quorumgroup.com, our tech exit sponsor. If you'd like to learn more about selling your tech company, join us at one of our Tech M&A Masterclass events. Attendees of the Tech M&A Masterclass will gain practical knowledge on how to achieve the maximum valuation for their company, gained through expert-guided workshops, hands-on exercises, and M&A case studies. Upcoming events in Barcelona and Las Vegas, or online through our virtual conferences and webcasts. Head over to wfs.com for more details. We'll see you again for the next episode.